4-week interval training session intervention. So again, they took habitually active subjects, they made them do the 3-minute test, and they gave them training sessions to do over a 4-week period, and they retested using both ways, so the standard protocol and also the 3-minute test, to assess the sensitivity of the 3-minute test. And what they found was that it closely estimates critical power, and it across a wide range of aerobic fitness, and is sensitive to training-induced changes in critical power. Okay, so you can use this test regularly with clients to actually assess their fitness. But, and there is a huge but with this test, as we will now discover, who were the cheating monkeys and who were the suffering in pain. So,
Take a little.
I'll probably be the monkey.
first of all, let's look at Tracy's graph.
Who's the cheater?
So, Tracy's graph, reasonably hard initially, just over 300 watts, dipped down, and then I think somebody was keeping their powder dry because they crushed the last bit. A little hard, and in fact, that last 30 seconds, Tracy, was 278 watts.
Oh, nice.
So,
Where'd you get the 278?
that's the average of the last 30 seconds.
Can you see it?
Yeah, where is it?
Top
There.
Yeah. It's,
Oh, it's the yellow. Okay, I'm
it's
sorry.
great. It's, yeah, it's
If we
like,
scoot the projector back, does it get bigger on the wall?
It will.
Can you just slide off for me?
Sure.
You have to go
Why don't you slide?
I go for the bottom one. A bit early.
Thank you, Justine.
Is that better?
a little better.
Here, let's lift it up.
I'm about to be 41, so I can't see that anymore.
There you go.
Age-related changes.
Probably fine.
But then how does that work in relation to the 20 minutes?
Well, that's what we're going to find out tomorrow.
Okay, we'll see how close.
Is that better?
Better. A little
Yeah.
bit. All right.
There, ooh,
Yeah,
yeah. Sort my eyeball.
And then 3 minutes test, you just take the last 30 seconds.
You take the last 30 seconds, okay? The importance of this protocol, though, is that it has to be blind, and it has to be absolutely, completely and utterly balls out from the gun, okay? It's not a criticism, Tracy, but it's just interesting, seeing the variety and patterns of effort.
I knew what it was going to look like.
So do you want the parabolic?
No,
You want
it
the
balls out.
You want the concave, or
No,
do you
no,
want the
no, I
convex?
don't want anything, Rich.
I started to
I don't want a particular pattern of a line. You're not looking.
All right.
You'll see in a second. Just
Right to the line.
Yeah.
okay. So that's.
Train ourselves
So if you can
around.
make a note, so yours is 278.
So write that down, Tracy. 278.
278 is your threshold.
Over 30.
No, 278 is. That is what, in theory, her critical power should be.
For 3 minutes.
No.
No?
Rich, listen. Protocol of the test, okay,
Right.
is that the 3 minutes is absolutely all out.
Okay.
Okay, then you take the average of the last 30 seconds,
Got it.
and that is highly correlated to the critical power of the individual. The critical power, not critical. There's no such thing as CP3, CP6, CP12, CP20.
Right.
Okay, there's only one critical power. Okay.
Okay.
So, we look at the shape of the curve, we can see that, I don't know, maybe you weren't, maybe you kind of felt that you weren't, but that kind of physiologically looks like you went reasonably hard, and then kind of struggling,
I
and
felt like
then
I
you
went up a
kind
little too hard, and then I was
Yeah.
going to blow up, so I just kind of
backed it down a bit,
spun
and
off
then,
and shifted gears.
yeah.
And
So,
then at the end, I kind
so that's yours, Tracy. So there is a sensitivity to this test in the sense of getting used to the protocol maybe.
Right.
And the reason it's good that everybody did it is because now you can see different examples.
Sure.
You can get an understanding of maybe how it felt to you and how you're going to get that across to a client. So, Rich, this is yours.
Yeah, way off train.
So basically, somebody was being a lazy ass. And it was like, so I'm going to wait right until the end until I reckon in my head I'm here, and I'm going to go really, really hard, and then, oh shit, I timed it too early.
So which 30 seconds do you use? The full last 30 or do you
No,
use
it's the full last 30
Yeah.
seconds.
You don't-
It's
You can't
a 3-minute
massage the
test.
data.
Okay.
Okay, so yours came in at 335.
So 335 is now my critical power.
Yeah.
All right.
Counted that pretty good.
Just do
So,
a hill climb
yeah.
average or what?
That was, yeah. The
If I put my cadence on there,
to
it's
get
even
Richard to
worse.
stop. That's the inflection that we all need to learn.
Yeah.
You didn't catch that.
So that was yours, right? So Justine. So
Yay.
Justine's the A student. She gets the apple today. She's already eaten the apple today. She stole it off the teacher's desk. So
Beautiful. Okay.
what you can see here, Justine's average power for the last 30 seconds was 159. And as you can see, there's a big spike in effort, totally crushed it.
Threw up a little bit.
If you
Yeah, I was like,
if you could, if this was actually
I'll do this.
in, you know, sort of Justine's data, and we had some W prime information, what you'd see is that W prime would get completely detonated, and there'd be nothing left, and then that would just be pure, you know, because once this is the thing, once that W prime is gone, you can't go any harder metabolically than your critical power.
So even in a 3-minute test, we're looking to drain the W prime.
So in this test, the whole point of going balls out from the gun is that you're wanting people to completely detonate their W prime, completely.
Okay.
Yay, I did it.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
you can see
All right,
here.
now we know.
So now you can see here, if you look at this, you've got a big old spike, flattens out, flattens out, flattens out, flattens out, flattens out, flattens out, flattens out even more. 159. So that's your critical power.
So we're not supposed to just like a 3-minute max effort. We're supposed to just.
It's, when I say all
Yeah,
out, it's
like
like
a-
here is like from the gun.
It's like
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's like a
Kill it.
sprint and a crit going for the gambler's frame and then holding it to the finish.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
you're going for the gambler's frame and then you're gonna hold it to the line. It's exactly.
So,
It's a Jens Voigt move.
as I will say, apologies if maybe my description of protocol in terms of doing it.
Well, no, now that we know, we can tailor it. We can tailor the message.
Can we do it again?
You do it again.
Jesus, who did this?
Okay, so this is David. So
Nice job, David.
again, fairly similar to Justine, 190 threshold, critical power. Sorry. So again,
David's been out of commission for about a couple of weeks because he had surgery.
okay. Yeah, so you know, initially, you know, big old block of work over 400 watts actually, and then it was like, oh man, this really hurts.
Shoot.
It really hurts. And it has to be flattened out, and we flatten out, and we flatten out. There's a couple of digs at
Burping it
the
up over
end,
there.
but principally flattened right out at the end. So it's 189. But again, that's good representative of a test.
So that's what you want to see somebody
Yeah, you-
perform it that way and have a spike, like, and then they reach that steady state of,
Yes.
I just can't put any more in.
Yeah.
Guys, this is something we're going to charge for, so just think about that. We're not going to give them this level of detail. We're going to
So-
charge for
Lisa, so again,
it. Beautiful.
went really hard. I don't know what that looks
She
to me.
shifted gears.
You shifted big chain to small chain or something like that, or you changed gear. Started to kind of really peter off, and then it flattens out, and there was a gear change just in here.
Not are you yelling at us?
Maybe me yelling at you, yeah. But principally, it's really flat in that shaded area. If I get rid of that, you can see it's really flat there.
Nice job.
So your last 30 seconds, 215. So that's your threshold. That's
So
your
this is
critical
pretty much
power.
just stripping away the aerobic system.
Yeah.
Just leaving the yellow.
Yeah, because metabolically, once that's gone, done. Then basically once that's gone, once all the creatine phosphate pathways are gone, all you're left with is capacity to produce critical power. That's it.
All right, drum roll.
And actually, I think I'll come on to it in a second, but there's a lady called Bergstrom that followed up on Annie's work, just to look at whether you could actually shorten the test at all, and how short you could make it. And what she actually found was that you could kind of get away with a 2.5 minute test, but anything shorter than that was too short. But again, it comes down to the protocol. It has to be from the gun, right? Just empty the tank as hard as you can go. Like you said, like you go for this gambler's sprint.
Do you know what I'm talking about on that?
Yeah, I do now. It kind of makes sense to me that basically
The cream that they give
it's the premium they give
One
for
lap
the
before
idiot.
the finish.
1 lap before the finish.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you have enough to hold it, you can take the gambler's cream, which is
Yeah.
usually something good, and then take the win.
So for yourself, Craig, so again you can see big hard initial effort, and then it peters out, flattens out, and then a little dig, try to maintain it, and it flattens out and stays there. And that last 30 seconds was 266.
Now, does cadence matter? Should trapping
No,
have
cadence,
matter?
don't forget about it.
So what did the number come up to?
266, Craig.
Gotcha.
So
So that's the number, these are the numbers we would
So look
plug in.
how strange it is. Look, A students,
Yeah.
B students.
Well, say like a,
Hey, hold on. Mine was with the A.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, his is.
Yours was as well.
I just hang out with the bad kids.
yeah, sorry. So when you go back to one of those profiles, you know,
Which one?
like with Richards or Tracy's, you know, they did the test, but when you're looking at the profile, what can you extrapolate from that?
Can't really extrapolate anything from it just because it's fairly obvious that Rich paced
You're
it.
holding it back?
So
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Well, actually, okay, hang on a minute. That's not fair because I'm having a dig at Tracy and Richard. But let me ask you a question. Did you, Jen, be really honest, did you pace it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right, okay.
But I guess I wasn't listening. I'm sorry. You said an all out 3 minutes, and all I could think of was the highest average 3 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember hearing.
So that's,
30
like I said,
seconds.
that's probably my bad for not explicitly explaining it in enough detail.
I think a component too is going into it. If you know you're being nailed in the last 30 seconds,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You-
wouldn't.
you
I
would-
didn't know.
it can alter how you're going to ride.
Well, and
But
here,
if you just tell them, I want an all-out effort, everything you've got for 3 minutes, don't tell them you're looking at the last 30 seconds. Don't
Yeah.
tell them anything.
Yeah.
the last 30
You'll get
seconds is
better.
a function of the first 2.5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yes, exactly.
It's actually about
Yeah.
the first
Metabolically.
So
and, in
what
fact,
we-
and in fact, actually, you have to be very careful with your choice of encouraging words because actually, with about 30 seconds to go, Steve said, you didn't say 30 seconds to go, but you said you're nearly there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard that.
Really go for
And I
it.
figured you guys are pacing about 30
And
seconds
also-
out.
Well, the thing is, I didn't know about your 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not
Well,
yeah.
So I was waiting for that. Just one more, and I'm I was waiting for that word.
Well, everyone was dying.
Yeah. So, but again, it's it's really key that when you do this test with people, it's really key. It's the choice of words. You've got to be really careful with how you encourage them, so you don't give them any indication of time at all.
Yeah, I want to do mine again.
Well, during the 20-minute test, with the people that are watching the screen a little too much, I'll take it away from them. They actually perform better.
Yeah.
You know, the last few minutes, last 3 minutes, I'll take it away from them during the test. But when you see something like this, you know, this is Jane or Joe cyclist. Is that useful data for anything
No.
other than to say this is great, but it was not a metric
Well, actually,
of
I
your
say
critical
no, it's
power?
not useful. But funnily enough, what it is actually useful for is for forming part of the critical power assessment that you would do. So there's a couple of ways you can test critical power. You've got this way that we've just done, which I think we could say that we've got pretty reasonable numbers for you for. Or the other way is maybe with like Richard and Tracy, because they thought it was a 3-minute time trial.
Yeah, you want to.
Is that then they also then need to do a 6-minute and a 12-minute time trial, and then they'll have 3 data points for their critical power model.
It's kind of
And we're all used to doing the 20-minute test and pacing ourselves and meeting ourselves out. I tend to come from the back. I don't wind up at the
Yeah.
beginning. This one, I'm like, okay, this is yesterday's rag where I got stripped of all my ego and just repeated that. This was a lot shorter.